20. Pickled okra with garlic. Pickled okra with garlic gave families a tangy, crunchy preservation method that could brighten any meal during the 1960s. Fresh okra pods were packed into jars with garlic cloves, dill seeds, and vinegar brine, then left to develop sharp, savory flavors that lasted through winter months when gardens rested. This preservation technique originated from West African pickling traditions and became essential for extending garden harvests during times when fresh produce was scarce. The bright taste cut through heavy meals and added life to simple plates, while the satisfying snap of each bite provided textural variety that prevented meal monotony. Reddit users praise the crisp pickle with gentle bite, noting how it cuts through heavy meals and adds life to humble plates. However, the labor-intensive process required careful timing and proper sterilization techniques that many modern cooks lack, while the vinegar and salt could be expensive for families on tight budgets. The verdict: a practical preservation method that added essential nutrients and flavor variety to limited diets, though requiring significant skill and effort to execute properly. 19. Ginger molasses cookies. Ginger molasses cookies offered warm, spiced sweetness during an era when refined sugar remained expensive and rationed throughout the 1960s. Dark molasses provided deep caramel flavor, while ground ginger, cinnamon, and cloves added gentle heat that warmed bodies during cold months and provided essential spices that aided digestion. These cookies emerged from necessity during the Depression and wartime rationing, when families needed to create treats from affordable pantry staples that could be stored for extended periods. The treats traveled well for school lunches and neighborhood gatherings, while their long shelf life made them practical for stockpiling when ingredients were available. Ex-users emphasized the crackled surface and chewy center, noting how holiday tins allowed mellow warmth to linger for weeks. The downside was their dense, heavy texture that some found too intense compared to lighter modern desserts, while the molasses could be overpowering for children's palates. The verdict: an economical sweet that provided comfort and nutrition while utilizing affordable ingredients, making it ideal for survival stockpiling when families needed to create joy from limited resources. 18. Fried sweet corn cakes. Fried sweet corn cakes transformed summer garden abundance into crispy, golden patties that could be eaten immediately or stored for later meals during the peak growing season. Kernels cut straight from the cob were mixed with milk, flour, and sugar, then fried on hot skillets until the outside crisped while the inside stayed tender and sweet, creating versatile food that served multiple purposes. This dish celebrated seasonal abundance during the 1960s, when backyard gardens provided crucial food security for African American families who couldn't always rely on grocery stores or steady income. The cakes served multiple purposes as snacks, side dishes, or even breakfast items, while their simple preparation required only basic kitchen equipment that most families possessed. Reddit users note the golden patties with sweet, tender interiors, emphasizing how sizzling oil signaled hospitality to neighbors. However, their dependence on fresh corn limited availability to specific seasons, and the frying process required precious cooking oil that could be expensive during tight economic times. The verdict: a versatile way to preserve corn's nutrition and sweetness while creating filling, portable food perfect for stockpiling during harvest season when abundance needed to be captured for leaner times. 17. Hush puppies with minced onion. Hush puppies with minced onion turned simple cornmeal into irresistible golden nuggets that completed fish dinners and stretched limited ingredients into filling, satisfying sides. Cornmeal batter mixed with minced onion and buttermilk was dropped into sizzling oil, puffing into crispy spheres that balanced fried fish perfectly while providing essential carbohydrates. These emerged from southern fish fry traditions where every grain of cornmeal needed to provide maximum nutrition and satisfaction for families who couldn't afford to waste anything edible. The onion addition provided essential vitamins while creating savory depth that elevated the humble cornmeal base into something special that children actually wanted to eat. Children loved their bite-sized shape and crisp edges, while adults appreciated their ability to stretch meals and satisfy hungry crowds during community gatherings. Ex-users highlight how the cornmeal batter fried golden creates crunchy nuggets that disappear fast, with batter hitting oil signaling summer evenings. The main drawback was their requirement for precious cooking oil and their short shelf life once cooked, meaning they had to be consumed quickly. The verdict: an ingenious way to transform basic cornmeal into filling, flavorful food that could feed large groups economically while making simple ingredients feel celebratory. 16. Homemade pepper jelly. Homemade pepper jelly brought sweet heat to tables while preserving garden abundance in ruby-colored jars that lasted months without refrigeration. Peppers were simmered with vinegar and sugar until the mixture thickened into shimmering spreads that balanced fire and sweetness perfectly, creating condiments that could transform simple meals. This preservation method originated from Caribbean and Southern traditions, where hot peppers provided essential vitamins and natural preservation properties that could extend food storage without expensive equipment. The jelly served multiple purposes, brightening simple cornbread, glazing roasted meats, and providing tradable goods for community exchanges that strengthened neighborhood relationships. Large batches could be made when peppers were abundant, creating valuable preserves that improved with age and could be stored for winter consumption. Reddit users emphasized the ruby red spread with sweet heat that brightens sandwiches, noting how neighbors traded jars as both food and gifts. However, the cooking process required careful timing and proper canning techniques to prevent spoilage, while the intense heat could be overwhelming for children's sensitive palates. The verdict: a brilliant preservation method that concentrated nutrition while creating versatile condiments perfect for long-term food storage and community trading networks. 15. Buttermilk chess pie. Buttermilk chess pie created elegant desserts from humble pantry staples during times when expensive ingredients remained out of reach for most African-American families. The custard filling made from buttermilk, eggs, sugar, and cornmeal baked into smooth, golden-topped pies that balanced gentle sweetness with pleasant tang, creating sophisticated desserts from basic ingredients. This dessert evolved from British chess pie traditions adapted to available American ingredients, becoming a potluck staple in African-American communities where impressive dishes needed to come from affordable components. The pie traveled well to community gatherings and required only basic ingredients that most families kept on hand, making it perfect for unexpected company or church events. Its long shelf life meant families could prepare desserts in advance while utilizing buttermilk that might otherwise spoil, demonstrating the kind of planning essential for survival cooking. Ex-users note the smooth custard with golden top that offers refreshing richness, pairing perfectly with coffee for holiday treats. The main limitation was its reliance on eggs and dairy products that weren't always available or affordable for families struggling economically. The verdict: a resourceful dessert that transformed basic ingredients into celebration-worthy treats while providing essential calories and nutrients during times when sweetness was a rare luxury. 14. Fish chowder with salt pork. Fish chowder with salt pork brought coastal abundance inland while creating hearty, warming meals from whatever catch was available during the 1960s fishing seasons. Fresh fish simmered with onions, potatoes, and creamy milk, while cubes of salt pork added depth and richness that transformed simple ingredients into satisfying stews that could feed large families. This dish reflected Atlantic coastal traditions where fishing provided daily sustenance for African-American communities who lived near water sources and relied on natural resources. The chowder could accommodate any available fish, making it adaptable to seasonal catches and market prices, while the salt pork provided essential fats and preservative qualities that extended the meal's nutritional value. A single pot could feed large families while utilizing less expensive fish cuts that might otherwise be discarded by commercial operations or other cooks. Ex-users highlight fresh fish simmered with potatoes and milk, noting how it warmed fishermen and celebrated the bounty of the ocean. However, the dish required access to fresh fish and dairy products that weren't always available in inland communities, while the salt pork added significant sodium content that could be problematic for health. The verdict: a practical way to create filling, nutritious meals from variable fish catches while incorporating preservation techniques essential for food security in coastal communities. 13. Braised rabbit with mustard sauce. Braised rabbit with mustard sauce delivered tender, protein-rich meals when traditional meats were unavailable or unaffordable during the economic challenges of the 1960s. Rabbit meat was browned, then slow-braised with onions, garlic, and sharp mustard sauce until the lean meat became fall-apart tender, with bright, tangy flavors that masked any gamey qualities. This dish reflected rural traditions, where hunting and small-scale rabbit raising provided crucial protein sources for African-American families who couldn't always afford store-bought meat. Rabbits reproduced quickly and required minimal resources, making them ideal for backyard production during economic hardship when self-sufficiency became essential for survival. The mustard sauce added essential vitamins while providing bold flavors that made the lean meat more appealing to children and adults alike. The meat provided complete proteins while requiring less feed and space than larger livestock, making it perfect for urban or small plot farming. Reddit users appreciate the lean, sweet meat as a memorable alternative to chicken or beef. noting the economical delicacy factor. However, rabbit preparation required specific butchering skills that not all families possessed, while the lean meat could become dry without careful cooking techniques. The verdict: an ingenious protein source that provided complete nutrition while requiring minimal resources, perfect for families seeking food independence during uncertain times. 12. Stewed turkey wings with celery and onion. Stewed turkey wings with celery and onion transformed affordable poultry parts into rich, satisfying dinners that rivaled expensive cuts during the 1960s. Turkey wings were browned, then slowly braised with celery, onions, and homemade stock until the meat became tender enough to fall from bones, while vegetables melted into savory sauces that coated every bite. This technique emerged from necessity during the 1960s, when whole turkeys were expensive, but wings remained affordable, allowing families to enjoy turkey flavor without holiday pricing. The long braising process extracted maximum nutrition from bones while creating rich gravies perfect for stretching over rice or mashed potatoes, making a little meat feed many people. Leftovers improved overnight, providing lunches that rivaled the original evening meal while requiring minimal additional ingredients or preparation time. The dish provided complete proteins and essential vitamins while utilizing parts that others might discard, demonstrating the waste-nothing philosophy essential for survival. Ex-users emphasize how browned, braised wings create Sunday feel on weeknight budgets, with leftovers becoming richer lunch options. The main drawback was the long cooking time required and the need for proper seasoning to avoid bland results that children might reject. The verdict: a brilliant way to create luxurious-tasting meals from economical ingredients while maximizing nutritional value and creating multiple meals from single cooking sessions. 11. Molasses baked beans with salt pork. Molasses baked beans with salt pork offered sweet, smoky comfort that fed large groups while utilizing affordable ingredients that stored well and improved with time. Dry beans were soaked overnight, then slow-baked with dark molasses, onions, mustard, and salt pork cubes that melted into rich, sticky sauces that coated every bean. This dish represented the intersection of New England baking traditions with African-American resourcefulness, creating filling meals that could stretch across multiple days while getting better each time they were reheated. The beans provided complete proteins when combined with cornbread, while the molasses added essential minerals and complex carbohydrates that sustained energy through physical labor. Large batches could feed church gatherings and family reunions while staying warm for hours without spoiling, making them perfect for community events. The salt pork provided essential fats and preservation qualities that extended shelf life, while adding deep, smoky flavors that made simple beans taste luxurious. Reddit users love the sticky dish as a gathering staple that stays warm and feeds crowds economically. However, the long cooking time required significant fuel consumption, while the high sugar content wasn't suitable for diabetic family members or those watching their weight. The verdict: a practical way to create nutritious, filling meals that fed crowds economically while providing essential nutrients for growing families and demonstrating how patience could transform simple ingredients. 10. Okra palao. Okra palao blended West African rice cooking traditions with Southern ingredients to create one-pot meals that stretched simple ingredients into satisfying dinners while preserving cultural heritage. Long-grain rice simmered with fresh okra, onions, bell peppers, and sometimes smoked meat bones, creating dishes where okra's natural thickening properties coated each grain while adding essential vitamins and minerals. This dish directly connected African-American families to ancestral cooking methods, preserving cultural heritage while providing practical nutrition that could sustain families through difficult economic periods. The recipe accommodated whatever vegetables were available while requiring only basic cooking equipment and techniques that could be mastered by cooks of any skill level. Children often helped harvest vegetables from backyard gardens, learning the value of fresh produce and shared work while contributing to family food security. The dish provided complete nutrition when combined with small amounts of meat or beans while utilizing ingredients that grew well in southern climates and required minimal resources. Ex-users highlight rice with okra, onions, and smoked bone as both hearty and light, emphasizing ancestral rice cooking as heritage reclaimed. The main limitation was okra's seasonal availability and the texture preferences that some family members found challenging, particularly children who hadn't developed appreciation for okra's unique qualities. The verdict: a cultural bridge that provided nutritious, filling meals while preserving important culinary heritage and utilizing easily grown ingredients that connected families to their African roots. 9. Sweet potato cornbread muffins. Sweet potato cornbread muffins brought gentle sweetness and vibrant nutrition to everyday meals while utilizing abundant root vegetables that stored well through winter months. Mashed sweet potatoes were folded into cornmeal batter, creating tender, moist muffins with natural caramel flavors that required minimal added sugar while providing essential vitamins. This dish emerged from the practical need to use leftover sweet potatoes while creating portable, filling bread that traveled well for work lunches and school meals. The muffins provided essential vitamins A and C along with complex carbohydrates that sustained energy throughout long workdays, making them perfect fuel for physical labor. They served equally well beside savory dishes or as grab-and-go breakfast items for school children who needed nutritious food that would keep them satisfied. The sweet potatoes added natural preservation qualities while creating appealing orange colors that attracted children to nutritious foods they might otherwise resist. Reddit users note the moist, glowing crumb that disappears fast at church socials, emphasizing the tender texture achieved by incorporating mashed potatoes. However, the muffins required fresh eggs and dairy products that weren't always available, while their sweetness could overwhelm some savory dishes when served. Together, the verdict: an ingenious way to incorporate essential nutrients into daily bread while creating appealing, portable foods perfect for busy families who needed nutritious options that could travel well. 8. Homemade crackling bread. Homemade crackling bread transformed kitchen scraps into golden skillet cornbread, loaded with crunchy pork cracklings that provided essential fats and proteins while eliminating waste. Cracklings from hog butchering were folded into cornmeal batter, then baked in cast iron until the bread developed crusty exteriors around tender, smoky interiors that satisfied hunger completely. This dish represented the ultimate in waste-not cooking, turning discarded pork skins into valuable nutrition while creating celebration-worthy bread that could anchor entire meals. The cracklings provided essential fats that sustained energy through physical labor, while adding satisfying textures that elevated simple cornmeal into something special that families looked forward to eating. The bread paired perfectly with collard greens or simple bean dishes, while leftovers could be crumbled into other preparations, extending its usefulness across multiple meals. Each batch told stories of community hog butchering and shared resources that strengthened neighborhood bonds while ensuring nothing valuable was wasted. X-users emphasize how cornbread with pork cracklings represents thrift and flavor, noting how the aroma draws neighbors to celebrate hog scraps. However, the process required access to fresh pork processing and considerable skill in rendering cracklings properly without burning them or making the bread greasy. The verdict: a masterpiece of resourceful cooking that eliminated waste while creating nutritious, satisfying bread that celebrated community traditions and turned necessity into luxury. 7. Stewed lima beans with smoked ham bone. Stewed lima beans with smoked ham bone carried comforting aromas through countless homes while transforming leftover bones into rich, protein-filled meals that could sustain families for days. Large lima beans were simmered for hours with ham bones that released smoky flavors and essential nutrients into creamy broths that satisfied hunger completely while providing valuable nutrition. This dish epitomized Depression-era cooking, where every scrap provided valuable nutrition and nothing edible was wasted, demonstrating how bones could create meals as satisfying as expensive cuts. The beans absorbed marrow and seasoned fat while creating silky textures without expensive ingredients, proving that flavor could be drawn from the simplest components when treated with patience and skill. A single ham bone could flavor multiple meals, while the beans provided complete proteins and essential minerals that growing families needed for health and energy. The stew stretched across days, improving with time while feeding children after school and adults returning from demanding labor that required substantial nutrition. Reddit users emphasize the creamy beans and rich broth that stretches across days, noting how neighbors traded bones to strengthen community ties. The main challenge was the long cooking time required and the need to save bones from holiday or special occasion meals when families could afford ham. The verdict: a perfect example of survival cooking that maximized nutrition from minimal ingredients while creating deeply satisfying, economical meals that demonstrated how patience could transform scraps into sustenance. 6. Chicken and dumplings. Chicken and dumplings stretched a single bird into hearty meals that wrapped families in warmth and comfort during the most difficult economic times. Whole chickens were boiled with aromatics until tender. Then the meat was pulled from bones and returned to rich broths where flour dumplings simmered until soft but firm, absorbing flavors while adding substance. This dish emerged from necessity during the Depression when mothers needed to make one chicken feed large families for multiple meals, demonstrating how technique could multiply resources. The dumplings absorbed flavorful broth while adding filling carbohydrates that sustained energy through physical labor, creating complete meals from minimal ingredients. The technique required only basic ingredients: flour, fat, and milk, while creating textures that ranged from slick and flat to puffy and biscuit-like, depending on family preferences and available ingredients. Children learned patience watching the slow bubbles while anticipating rewards of warm, hearty food made with visible love and careful attention. Ex-users described the whole chicken boiled with meat pulled, creating dumplings simmered in hearty love that wraps the soul. However, the process required whole chickens that weren't always affordable and considerable cooking time that consumed precious fuel during periods when every resource counted. The verdict? The ultimate comfort food that demonstrated how careful technique could transform limited ingredients into soul-warming meals, perfect for survival situations when families needed both nutrition and emotional comfort. 5. Collard greens with smoked turkey necks. Collard greens with smoked turkey necks represented both cultural heritage and practical nutrition, providing essential vitamins while connecting families to West African traditions that sustained them spiritually and physically. Collards were carefully cleaned, then simmered for hours with smoked turkey necks that provided deep, smoky flavors without excessive fat found in traditional pork preparations, making them healthier while maintaining taste. This dish served as medicine, memory, and sustenance, especially during New Year celebrations when greens symbolized prosperity and good fortune for the coming year. The cooking process created pot liquor, nutrient-rich broth that elders encouraged children to drink for strength and health, demonstrating how every part of the cooking process provided value. The greens provided essential vitamins A, C, and K, along with iron and calcium crucial for growing families, particularly important when other nutritious foods were scarce or expensive. Large pots could feed extended families and neighbors, while utilizing inexpensive ingredients that grew well in southern gardens, making them accessible to families with limited resources. Reddit users stress the importance of rinsing grit and simmering for hours, noting how pot liquor serves as medicine that should be sopped with cornbread. However, the greens required careful cleaning to remove grit and long cooking times that consumed considerable fuel while filling homes with strong aromas that some found overwhelming. The verdict? A cultural cornerstone that provided essential nutrition while preserving important heritage, making it indispensable for both survival and identity during challenging times. 4. Cornmeal mush. Cornmeal mush began as simple survival food, but evolved into versatile sustenance that could stretch a handful of meal into week-long nourishment for entire families. Ground corn was slowly simmered with water and salt until it thickened to porridge consistency, then could be eaten hot or allowed to set for slicing and frying into completely different dishes. This dish represented the foundation of survival cooking, where every grain counted toward keeping families fed through lean times when other food sources were unreliable or unaffordable. The mush provided essential carbohydrates and could be flavored with whatever was available: molasses, milk, or even just salt, demonstrating how creativity could make basic ingredients palatable. When cooled and sliced, it created portable food perfect for fieldwork or long journeys where every crumb helped fend off hunger and provided energy for physical labor. The technique required only basic equipment while creating filling, nutritious meals from minimal ingredients that most families could afford even during the worst economic times. Leftovers transformed into completely different dishes, proving that creativity could stretch limited resources infinitely when necessity demanded innovation. Ex-users emphasize how the thickened porridge could be sliced and fried, creating humble but filling meals that packed for journeys to fend off hunger. The main limitation was its plain flavor that required additional ingredients to make it appealing, especially for children who might resist eating such simple food. The verdict: the ultimate survival food that provided essential calories while demonstrating how basic techniques could sustain life during the most challenging circumstances, when families had to make every grain count. 3. Hoe cakes. Hoe cakes carried names and legacy that spoke directly to African American survival, labor, and culinary invention during the harshest periods of American history, when enslaved people created nourishment from nothing. Made from cornmeal, water, salt, and sometimes lard, these simple cakes were originally cooked on hoe blades over open flames when field workers had no access to proper cooking equipment or facilities. This dish represented ultimate resourcefulness, creating nourishing food with nothing but basic ingredients and improvised tools while laboring under brutal conditions that were designed to deny basic human needs. The cakes evolved from plantation fields to freed households, gaining complexity with additions of buttermilk or eggs while maintaining their essential character as filling, economical bread that could sustain life. They served multiple purposes, sopping up pot liquor, stretching stews, or providing quick energy during long workdays when other food wasn't available. The preparation required no special equipment while creating foods that satisfied hunger and provided essential carbohydrates for physical labor that demanded substantial energy. Reddit users note the proof that black hands could create warmth from survival invention, emphasizing how they evolved with buttermilk while keeping their filling nature. However, their simple nature meant they lacked complete nutrition and required accompaniment with other foods for balanced meals that could sustain health long-term. The verdict, a profound symbol of resilience that provided essential sustenance while preserving the memory of survival against impossible odds, demonstrating how human ingenuity could create life from the barest materials. 2. Pot liquor. Pot liquor represented liquid gold in African American survival cooking, the nutrient-rich broth left after boiling collard greens or other leafy vegetables that contained concentrated vitamins and minerals essential for maintaining health during times of scarcity. This cloudy, flavorful liquid was carefully saved and served by the cupful, with grandmothers urging children to drink it for strength and vitality that would carry them through difficult days. The practice emerged from the understanding that vegetable cooking water contained crucial nutrients that couldn't be wasted when resources were scarce, and every source of nutrition could mean the difference between health and illness. Modern science later confirmed what elders knew instinctively. Pot liquor contained vitamin K, iron, calcium, and other essential minerals leached from the greens during cooking, making it a complete nutritional supplement. The broth soothed empty bellies while providing actual nutritional medicine that could ease sickness and support growing children when other medical care wasn't available or affordable. Some families sopped it with cornbread crusts while others drank it straight, hot and bracing like tea, understanding its medicinal properties. The practice required no additional ingredients while maximizing nutrition from every vegetable consumed, demonstrating how traditional knowledge could extract maximum value from minimal resources. Ex-users emphasize how green broth rich with vitamins soothes empty bellies, noting how elders urged children to drink it for humble strength. The only limitation was its dependence on having vegetables to cook in the first place, which wasn't always guaranteed during the most difficult times. The verdict? Pure nutritional wisdom that transformed cooking byproducts into essential medicine, proving that survival often depended on utilizing every possible source of nutrition available. 1. Ash cake. Ash cake stands as the ultimate survival food, born from hunger and hard ground when cornmeal represented the difference between life and death during the most brutal period of American history. This gritty bread was created by mixing cornmeal with water and salt into thick batter, shaping it on broad leaves, then burying it under hot ashes to bake while overseers weren't watching, representing the absolute minimum needed to sustain human life. Frederick Douglass remembered bread covered with ashes to a depth of a 1/16 of an inch, gritty and hot, but it filled bellies when nothing else would, providing essential carbohydrates under conditions designed to starve. This dish required no equipment, no oven, no fuel beyond available embers, making it possible to create nourishment under the most restrictive circumstances imaginable when enslaved people had access to virtually nothing. The technique demanded patience and skill, waiting for the faint toasty smell to rise above smoke while avoiding detection from those who would punish any attempt at self-sufficiency or comfort. Every bite carried ash that scratched throats, but it provided essential carbohydrates that sustained life during brutal labor, under conditions meant to break both body and spirit. The bread represented pure survival, the absolute minimum needed to keep people alive while working under conditions designed to destroy them physically and psychologically. This wasn't just food. It was proof of human determination to survive against impossible odds using nothing but basic ingredients and fire, demonstrating that life could be maintained even when everything else was taken away. Reddit users note the gritty texture from ashes that filled bellies when nothing else would, emphasizing how Frederick Douglass remembered this field foundation food. The ash cake required only cornmeal, water, salt, and hot embers, yet provided the foundation upon which all subsequent African American cooking traditions were built, proving that survival could begin with the simplest possible ingredients. The verdict: the most essential survival food ever created by African Americans, representing the absolute foundation upon which all other cooking traditions were built, proving that life could be sustained with nothing more than cornmeal, water, and unbreakable human will to survive.